Everything's up and running. Looks like Twitch, and yeah, we're gonna start the recording. I don't run through the problem I did last night. And we will switch over to the starting soon screen. They are all looking awesome and put a little music on. All right. I do love this track, by the way. Like, this is fantastic. That's absolutely fine, just as long as you there we go. Just as long as you mute the stream. Otherwise we'll get some really weird echo feedback.
Yeah, it's muted.
All right. So
that's good.
And again, I just treat this stream as giving people the opportunity to sort of watch the process as it goes. So, you know, if we stumble over our words or anything, we can pause and restart, because I'm going to be editing this into a proper video anyway.
Okay.
On top of that, I'll be doing a little bit, it's going to be a little bit weird right at the beginning or right at the end, because I need to give myself the transitions to edit, if that makes sense.
I have some experience with OBS, so I get it.
Yeah. Okay. So things. Unbowed Productions in and of itself is a politically neutral entity, meaning I understand that a lot of like your music, your stuff like that is going to come from a place that might be political or might be politicized, for lack of a better word, and even if I agree with you personally, Unbowed Productions is.
We spoke about that.
Pardon? Say again.
We spoke about that.
We did. We went through the ground rules. Awesome. Okay, perfect. So I want to talk about you. I want to talk about how you got into the music. I want to talk about how, at some point, I want to talk about how you found your voice or finding your voice, because that's a huge thing. How the pandemic affected you both personally and professionally, and then I want to talk about sort of the community that you're trying to build and how it meshes with sort of my vision of the Unbowed community. I want to talk about the single, and then any additional music. Is there anything else that you really want to touch on?
That sounds perfect to me.
I've done this once or twice. I am going to start off with, I always start my interviews off by asking how people can get a hold of you, how they can listen to your music, how they can, you know, shoot you, all your social medias and stuff, because we want. Can
I take that into the stream chat, or?
So I've got your link tree and stuff, so when I edit the video, I'm gonna make sure that goes either into the description or into a pinned comment, depending on how verbose I am at certain things.
Okay.
But I like asking and getting you to say it too, because a lot of people already know, like, you know, the Unbowed stuff's at the bottom, but when they hear it from the artist themselves, they're like, oh, that sticks.
Okay.
You know, even if you just say, you know, something like just, you know, look for Tha Koala, you know, on all the platforms, like even just something like that is enough. That makes sense?
Okay. Yeah, no, that makes sense. Yeah.
All right. You about ready for this?
Yeah, I'm ready.
All right. So we're gonna turn that down. And I think it's about time we start this thing. Let's get everyone in the stuff together. Okay, 3, 2, 1, let's jam. And as we flip over, I just got to make sure that Mark, where are you? There you are. You're on and turned on. All right. Welcome to the stream, guys. I'm here with Mark. We're going to do the introduction in just a little bit. Oh, hey, Roadwaves is here. How you doing, buddy? I already got people in the chat saying hi. They're over on Twitch. All right. So quick flip back and forth. How's it going, man? How's your day going? Oh, we we're in the same neck of the woods. We're in the same area, and it's just finally starting to warm up and starting to feel nice. The snow is finally melting. I have been waiting for this for a while. So, all right, let's go. So, I got you as Mark here, but your professional name, the Koala, and you're a rapper and producer and. How does everybody get a hold of you? How do we listen to the music? How do we give you a shout out?
Consistent.
Oh, hold on. We're gonna pause and we're gonna restart. Apparently, I didn't push the right button. Sorry, my dude.
It's all good.
There we go. So we flip it. All right. How's it going, man? How's your day going?
It's going good. It's going good.
He's trying to chat. He's trying to chat in the chat right now and do the interview. I've never seen anybody try and multitask like that. How are you?
No, I'm sharing the stream.
Oh, that's even better. I appreciate it, brother. You know, we're finally starting to get that warm weather here in London. Things are starting to look up. How is it going for you?
Things are going good. I mean, I'll be out of hibernation soon, and I'll be doing performances outdoors, hopefully, as things warm up. So I'm excited, and things are going well.
Well, and that's good, and we're going to touch on that in just a second. But you hit the professional name. So this is Mark. If you don't know, Mark. There we go. This name. And your professional name's Tha Koala. So how do we find you? How do we find the music? How do we listen to you? How do we say hi? You're an awesome guy.
Well, I'm pretty responsive on all platforms, but my tag is THA space koala. So instead of THE, like it's just the koala. Um, I post most frequently on Instagram, but I'm also pretty active on other platforms, and I'm on all music streaming platforms with one release to date, and hopefully more in the future.
Speaking of which, we were just talking about it. So it is on Spotify. Oh, is it on Bandcamp?
Oh yeah, it's on Bandcamp.
I thought so. And those are the two I like to promote the most, just because Bandcamp really does give it's the best way to support the artists, and Spotify, it starts bringing up the list. Go give that track a listen. It is absolutely fantastic, and we're gonna get into that in a little bit. But I really want to promote that. Before we get into that, though, one of my favorite things to ask artists is how they came up with the name. I'm not joking in that the band that I interviewed last night, when I asked them that question a long time ago, they literally talked about throwing darts at a board. So, how did you come across the name? How did it stick?
Well, basically, my name really came from two things. My first alias was Waigwa the Koala, and Waigwa being my African name, and koala just being, like kind of like an animal that's like way out there in isolation, like in Australia. So I wanted to merge my tribal identity with like some type of symbol that represents where I'm not, you know? And so I came up with Wagwa the koala, but it was so hard for people to spell. I just shortened it up and called it the koala. And yeah, at the time, I was just thinking that like I was really influenced by Kanye West's college dropout, graduation, and late registration series,
Mm-hmm.
and that involved like kind of like this bear imagery, and I kind of really thought that that stuck, and that's why I stuck with the koala, you know, and that's how I came to be.
No, that's I like when there's that sort of blending and thought that goes into it and crafting an identity. And we are going to talk about crafting an identity in a little bit, but I really want to touch on something else that you mentioned. And how did you get into the music that you got into? What brought you to music, to rap, to your art?
Well, it wasn't like I guess like the rosiest path, but I was what brought me to music was the fact that I've always been obsessed with hip hop culture. I was always up to date with. I always like to me like my favorite artists in hip hop were like comic book figures, kind of. And like I'd keep the CD booklets, I'd read the lyrics, I'd try to like put it together, I try to analyze it, and so what brought me to music really was just trying to express myself, you know. And then like I came from a background where I was actually in business school before I switched to music, and it wasn't suitable for me because I kind of developed this creative aspect of my life and dimension of my life. So I wanted to explore if I can actually do it. I always thought about one day putting out a project, but I didn't know how to go about it. And uh, I guess I learned through fire. I started off by doing coffee shop performances in St. Thomas, Ontario, and I gained confidence with my writing ability, and it just kind of blossomed from there.
No, that's good. Oh, there's so many things to dive into and where to dissect, but we're gonna keep going with the fine and the music. Which hip hop artists have really hit the most influence on you? Because any hip hop head's going to sit there and start going, "Oh, okay, that's where we're pulling the influences from." So like we can either go like very specific artists and genres, or coasts and cities and that sort of flavor. So what has influenced you?
What's influenced me, like from an artist standpoint, was the lyricism of Lupe Fiasco. He's a Chicago rapper. If those who aren't familiar with him, he has a single called "Kick Push" where he talks about, just themes and topics that weren't actually typical to hip hop at the time, and it made me comfortable to listen to because first of all, I can play it in any situation, and nobody would say it's too graphic or too violent or aggressive, and I just really admired how he can like blend like make pictures with words.
Hmm.
So I'd say Lupe Fiasco, Kanye West, just by his groundbreaking, approach to hip hop when it comes to production and sound. Uh, and then, yeah, Canadian artist Chaos. You know, I listened to the Joyful Rebellion around the time I was getting into actually collecting music and not just listening on the radio and stuff. And Chaos, like first of all, we had similar cadences. I could sing along to his songs, and like I could feel like, yo, I'm actually doing this. And he also bridged the gap between like indie rock and like merging genres, things I didn't know were possible at the time. I thought that if you're in one basket, you're in one basket. But Chaos really blended a lot of things with me, with my listening experience at least. So those are three artists: Lupe, Kanye, and Chaos. I can name more, but I know this is we can't just go off on
Well, I
influences.
mean, then it starts becoming you're just listing off all your favorite artists,
Wait,
but I understand what you're talking about. I was actually around in Toronto at the time when Chaos was doing his underground stuff and just hitting the clubs, and finally when Joyful Rebellion came out. So I under like man, when that album dropped, it hit and it hit hard. Like I understand what you're talking about with the cadences and stuff and just the way he was going. But and this is something I want to get into, particularly with your music and what you're doing. But Chaos came along at a time when it almost felt like they were dumbing down hip hop. You know, they were trying to make it to the basic denominator. Probably like this is the height of the corporate thing, and they're trying to sort of
the ringtone,
say again.
the ringtone era.
Yes, thank you. That's a great way of putting it. And then he comes along, and one of my favorite tracks is "Love Song," and just a beautiful track. How he mixed it with a TV show theme of all things. But here's a guy who's coming along. Somebody's trying to say hi to you there, bud.
Yeah, sorry, I'm trying to like mute that.
No, don't worry
Anyways,
about it. It's fine. It was just
okay.
so.
Can you still see me and everything?
Say again.
Okay,
No, don't worry about it.
I'm so clear.
You're good. You're
Okay, all
fine.
right.
So he comes along, and one of the lines on the track was, the art of onomatopoeia, metaphysical microscopic topic dropper. You know, this wasn't dumbed down at all, man. Like this was hitting. And when it comes to you, have you ever felt like when you're trying to find that identity, have you felt the pressure to sort of ringtone it, make it easy and digestible, and dumb yourself down? Not. Yeah, no,
Well, I
that's
think
the term I'm gonna go for. I'm gonna get in trouble for it, but it's fine.
okay, yeah. Well, like, uh, I, I'm not a fan of compromising, but I am a fan of like communication. So it's whatever effectively gets your message across, and it can be something simple like uh, I mean, like it can be something simple and chill to like, where's the motive, where's the party? You know what I'm saying?
Hmm.
Something simple like that, and then you develop a sense of structure from something simple, or you can actually just make it more complex and make it more dynamic, and depending on what tools and as long as it comes from your artistry.
Hmm.
um, but overall, like, I'm like, for example, like the perfect example for me is like Lupe Fiasco. He has songs that are simple that everybody likes, that are catchy and everything like that too. And he has songs that are so mind-bendingly lyrical that like it's
Hmm.
really hard to uh like I listen to him all the time, and I can't listen to it after like 3 minutes because I have to just like, okay, let me just rewind and figure out where he was going with this. So I guess there's just different techniques and
Hmm.
different methods of communication, and as long as you know your audience and know who you're trying to reach, or how you're trying to express yourself, I don't think there really is a call to that. It's just basically the artist's preference.
There we go. I'm not gonna add to that. You did it perfect. It's fine. So what is your process? How does it go from I'm sitting here drinking my coffee to hitting the the studio, or doing it in your home, or however your process to go from zero to song?
So for me, like, so much of
Yeah, we've hit the pause. Mario will be back in just a second. We've glitched out just a little bit. It's okay. We'll keep streaming. This is why we do it. The worst part is you could just see he was getting
we're back.
right. Oh, he's back. Maybe. Nope. Still a little glitchy. Give it a sec. Oh, is it me that's glitching? There you are. You're back.
Okay.
So let's pick it up from zero to song.
Okay. So yeah, like when it comes to like my process and stuff like that, I basically develop a sense of melody, and then uh, it's all about channeling my energies, channeling, like because there's so many different things that can affect the delivery of a vocal performance. So I try to just like maintain the energy I had when I was thinking of the original melody, original verse, original rhyme, so that when I'm in the booth and I have to deliver a vocal, a chorus, a rap scheme, or whatever, I can just you know uh,
Hmm.
begin to actually tell y'all how I'm feeling. So that's my process. I just kind of like I'm melodic, and like I kind of like try to find the energy I had when I originally wrote it.
And when you're writing, where does that come from? Where's your inspiration for the writing coming from?
For me, I'd have to say like everyday life, like life experiences, and like sometimes it's like even pain, trauma, things that typically aren't the most inspirational when you look at it in black and white. But yeah, like one of my favorite quotes is that from concrete grew a rose. That's Aretha
Mm,
Franklin, and
mm-hmm.
like you can really come up with some amazingly cool stuff, by being self-reflective and uh,
Mm-hmm.
diving into the things that that made you feel worse or even better or in between. It's just about like kind of channeling that those those pictures in your mind, those memories, those flashbacks, and just putting them to words.
And then channeling that feeling into the performance,
Right.
and I've heard somebody say that music and the performance is therapy on repeat, just trauma therapy, trauma therapy, trauma therapy, because you're reliving those emotions that bring you there, and you're getting it out and you're working it out.
That's an amazing way of putting it.
So um the next thing I sort of let's let I still want to work into building an identity, but we'll keep sort of pulling those threads that way. And how it's the how have you been? How are you doing, my dude? Because we were just at the tail end of a global pandemic that changed how we do everything. But I also feel for artists, particularly up and coming artists, it almost feels like it pulled them back 3 steps. So, the first thing, you survive and you doing okay? And how did you survive, and how did it affect you? And we'll start personally, if that's okay.
Well, I guess like personally, I could, like the most rewarding aspect to me when it comes to music is the performance aspect of it, and like just making somebody's day or seeing somebody in the crowd, and seeing them dance or seeing them connect with whatever you're saying on stage. So that was obviously lacking during the pandemic, but I guess like um I was compensating for not having the performance stuff and just like kind of like honing just some musicality, like some the production, the sound engineering. Like I took the time to kind of like, really become a hermit and just like learn my craft before I, you know,
Mm-hmm.
instead of
Mm-hmm.
attempting to, make a hit, and I'll just kind of like like when the time comes, I'll be ready because I can use this time to focus on my skills and build.
Mm-hmm. No, and that's the positive outside of it, and that positive outlook. And you are a really, really positive guy, and it is infectious. But how do you think the pandemic affected you professionally?
It definitely affected me like professionally because I feel like less opportunities are given to artists during that time. I even read an article saying that like that listed the professions that were most important in terms of COVID regulations, and the artist musician was at the bottom of the list. And
Mm.
I didn't agree with that. You know what I'm saying? I think music is such a fundamental aspect of how we live our lives. You know what I'm saying? Like we gotta nurture creativity in the arts, especially in times when we can't,
Hmm.
where we can't type of circumstances. So um yeah, so professionally I definitely say that I missed out on a lot of opportunities like touring, traveling, all that type of stuff. But at the end of the day, like if you believe in yourself and you believe in the product or in the song, the single, the album, whatever unit you're trying to create or express, the universe is listening. Your time
Hmm.
will come.
Oh, ah, I love that. That is a great one. Um, One of the things that you hit on it, and I don't think it's just with the pandemic. I think with so many public institutions and public views, the arts, the music always sort of hits last. We worry about them last. And as institutions are opening up, as the pandemic goes, so many things have been defunded, particularly at the college and university levels. I don't think it's hit the universities quite so hard, but I know so many college music programs have just been cut, axed. And, you know, you're 100% correct in that we need that music, particularly when time is hard. We need the acting, the music. Could you imagine trying to survive what we just went through without the music, without the actors, without the dance and stuff that we could watch on YouTube, on TikTok, whatever. Like, there's no way we would have survived this. That's the outlet. Even here in London and in Ontario, particularly, so many venues that we've relied on for performance spaces and to get that thing they haven't made it. They didn't make it out the other end. For me, the one that hit the most was called The Office shutting down. They were one of the first to go.
Mm.
But to switch it over to the positive side, when I was talking with Elijah on last week, that's all I'm going to go. My brain is gone on these. He was talking about that this is forcing communities to find new venues, new places to pull together as a community. And I'm saying this because it's a nice segue into a bunch of stuff that you're doing.
Mm.
So, how has your community and what you're doing pulling together with the new venues, with the new community places?
So basically, now that there's like to be honest, like it like music is always evolving. Uh, and I think as we are in the time that we're in, you just got to be resourceful in any time. Like during the summer, I couldn't perform in any venues indoors, so I just went to the park and I rented a speaker and I just started going at her,
Mm-hmm.
and
Mm-hmm.
so like I feel like there's a evolving process towards figuring out what to do. I do run a events and promotion company for urban music, and like we you know we did a lot of different things during the pandemic at the capacity that we can do, and we tried bars, we tried outdoors, we did it on the streets, we did uh, a variety of things, houses, what I'm saying,
Mm-hmm.
small communities, bonfires. We just try to, even through the hard times, like foster some type of community. And um, now I'm really encouraged by seeing a lot of different things spring up uh, as we enter more free congregation and free meeting spaces and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
So I think it's going to get a lot better. I'm optimistic. So yeah, I think that it was tough, but like you just got to continue to evolve.
Yeah, and I'm glad to hear that. I'm really looking forward to seeing what you guys are going to do now that things are opening up. Um, Another thing that we talked about, Elijah and I, and sort of the hip hop community, and I want to get your thoughts on this, is, and it ties down to identity because that seems to be my theme today. When you're building these communities together and talking about things, there's this there's still these divisions that are opening up. Like, I'm sure you've heard, oh well, you're just a London rapper, or you're just a whatever rapper. Has that affected you, and what are your thoughts on that?
Being a London rapper,
Or
well,
or,
I
or
am a
sort of
London rapper.
being relegate say that again, sorry.
Oh, so I am a London rapper. I'm proud of that,
Mm-hmm.
and like like the London community has embraced me. They gave me a bunch of opportunities I wouldn't otherwise have, and I'm really thankful for just being in a place where I can make music and a place where I can do performances and get involved with the different communities and stuff like that. So, but I know I may have cut you too short because I think you're saying as opposed to what?
Well, I think the interesting aspect to it, and you gave me a little bit more time to think, so I appreciate that. Um, in previous years, and certainly when I was living in Toronto, and that hip hop thing, man, there was, like, if you were coming in from Scarborough, people were booing you. Let alone if you were coming from outside of the city. But in today's day, where we have the ability, and it's been not just fostered but amplified by the pandemic and everything, you have the ability to just reach out through the internet and collaborate with people all over the world, let alone dealing with the guys in Toronto. Do you think that those divisions, are they a holdover? Should does it help build your identity, or is it a relic?
Well, that's pretty interesting, kind of like question because I think that like it's a almost like a perceptual shortcut to label things. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
And to situate things and put things in boxes and but music is something that is ubiquitous. It's everywhere. You know what I'm saying? It's like it's just to be listened to. So I mean, I understand like like because like with the internet and with music and just free information and just how like things evolve, I think that um you can you know you can make it out of anywhere, and as long as you have the right attitude and um vision with what you're doing. I mean, it's not going to be easy. It's going to be very difficult, especially if you're not in like near a metropolis or a big city, but uh you just look at people who have made it and just like kind of like see the steps they took and like you try and figure that out. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
So I know that I look at Shad, I look at Havana Mighty, I look at a lot of London people who came out of London,
Mm-hmm.
uh, progress to do big things. I don't think they let labels define what they could do and what they cannot do, or or limit the fact that like they wanted to broaden their audience, right?
Mm-hmm.
Uh, like for me personally, I want to have my music heard everywhere. I want it. I'll try my best to do just be heard, and go from there. So as much as I love London, like I'm not gonna kind of like relegate all my music just to this area. Like I'm gonna try and like reach different audiences and different pockets of the whole the whole music sphere,
Mm-hmm.
just so I can be heard. And like that's a core for me. I just want to be heard.
I love that, and I think I'm going to be using that particular line when we're talking about community building. Um, because that's just it. Everybody just wants to be heard. I think it's time to move past the, well, you're only from London, you're only from Toronto, you're only from LA, whatever, and that's where you're building your ground roots. We're now in an era when we just want to be heard. We want to have our voices ring out, and we now have the ability to do that and amplify it to such a greater level. And that's what we're trying to do with Unbowed and the Unbowed community of artists, and just give everybody the opportunity to explore with other people on the outside. Sort of a little bit of a plug, but on Friday I'm doing an interview with a guy named Bo, and I've known Bo for a long time. He's part of a band called Astrid, and they're out of the Netherlands. And
Okay.
they're a prog rock band, like very awesome soundscapes and things like that. But I'm sitting here going, you and them, with the way they do their soundscapes and your melodic nature, this would never happen in the wild, or almost never happen. But as you're saying, we all want our voices heard, and building these communities is the way to do it, I think.
Mm-hmm.
And you're becoming a leader in the community, in the hip hop community here in London and stuff. You're a little bit too humble of a guy, but I'm going to put you on the spot. How do you feel about that? And what's your, I don't want to say intention, because I know what your intention is, but how does it feel, and why are you trying to do this? I know it's a simple answer, but I want to hear it from you.
Well, I know, like, I'll not to tilt my own hat, but like I came here on a mission, and it wasn't just to, like, drop an album and then go. You know what I'm saying? Like, I want, like, London to be respected on the same plane as all big music market cities, big music markets. Sorry.
Mm.
And I think there's a talent base. There's obviously the infrastructure is going to be built. We're just recognized as a UNESCO Music World City. I saw in an article.
Mm-hmm.
So as far as like being a leader in the hip hop community and stuff like that, like I just want people to express themselves, people to direct their energies in hip hop, and like give them just like a shot, like at you know artist development, doing their thing. And my mission is to get London some major recognition for the talent it has, because when I first came here, I didn't know much about recording, and then I was invited to a giant recording session by a London music legend, King Cruff, and he definitely showed me a lot of the ropes when it came to recording and being in a studio and everything like that, and the value that had towards me and where I am today. Like I wanted to give other people the same opportunity I had when I came to the city,
Mm-hmm.
and in order to do that, yeah, I got to assume a leadership role with especially the initiatives I'm doing,
Mm-hmm.
and I want to make sure everyone has a fair shot to be creative as they can.
That, yeah, exactly. And you're making me think of a few things. I mean, we've talked about sort of what Unbowed is planning on doing. We really want to bring beyond world class recording studio here to London. I mean, we got some really good ones already, but we're going to be building something that's beyond even that, and getting it can't be elitist, I think, is where I'm trying to go with this. Like if you're only catering to, somebody who can afford $300 or $400 an hour, what's the point? But something else you brought up is, and I think that hip hop in a lot of ways is a little bit easier for this, in that, people do guest spots on each other's albums all the time. And as you said, that opportunity to go into the recording studio with somebody else, if even if you're not an established artist, if you're somebody who's up and coming, the ability to hit You know, even if you've just got like one, like even if you're just part of the chorus, literally, the experience of being in that studio, seeing how it goes. So when it's your time in the spotlight in the studio, it's a whole different world,
Hmm.
you know. So I've taken up a good chunk of your time, and I want to keep going, and we're going to be continuing to have conversations. I'm not letting you go. You are such an amazing guy, an amazing artist, and I think as our communities grow, I think we're going to have continued collaborations, and I think this is going to be awesome. But I want to talk. I want to circle it up to identity and finding yourself and your voice, and how we've talked a bit about how you did it. I'd like to ask you how you would advise other people within hip hop or just musicians, artists, because I think it's all the same process of finding yourself, but not just yourself, because who we are as an artist is not is a reflection of who we are as a person, but it's more. You are a character, and I'd like to hear your thoughts on how, as an artist, you build that. Does that make sense?
So yeah, that makes a lot of sense. So I guess like I don't know, like kind of like forging, like because like honestly, if you're going under anything different, like I'm going under the koala. My persona on stage is a lot different from my everyday life. Even like just talking with you,
Hmm.
like not many people in my who I meet outside of the music sphere even know that I rap and sing. So, um, but when it comes to just like creating that identity and creating who you are within your music and what you want to put out and stuff like that, like all I can say is that um, it never it's always going to be changing. It's always going to be evolving, but it's the searching.
Hmm.
And if you are almost like, to me it's like an addiction, you know what I'm saying, always searching for myself through my music, learning more about myself through different uh instruments and different arrangements and stuff like that. Like when I started off, I was kind of just like directionless, and but um like as you put in the hours, as you put in the time, the all these different pieces start to fall together. And then like for me personally, I dropped something called Gardens,
Hmm.
and Gardens was like me trying to put together the artist's experiences from the point of being naive and gullible and all that type of stuff, as you just enter something that's so magical like a garden. That was my way of trying to put it. I don't know if I got the message across, but I just know that the searching and the evolving, like all I can say is that let it come to you.
Hmm.
Don't try and forge it. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Because there's always the like the tendency, or like kind of like the willpower to be like, today I'm Britney Spears, tomorrow I'm Katy Perry. You know what I'm saying? Like, like
Hmm.
I don't know how to really put it together with words that well, but I would always say just like let it come to you, build, put in the hours, and then your identity will just blossom.
I like it. That is a great way of putting it. No, thank you, dude. There are so many more conversations to be had here. But I'm gonna sort of stop it here because I think that is a perfect place to end, and the way you said that. So I'm gonna give you. Is there anything else you want to chat about, or is there something you want to say? I'm gonna give you the last opportunity.
Well, I just want to thank everybody for watching the interview. My name is The Koala, and I'm working on an album right now called The Spirit, which is going to be kind of like a gospel rap album. And I hope you hear it, every lyric, it's the spirit. Yeah. So
Oh,
it'll be coming out soon. So stay tuned and uh, you know,
and
live long and prosper.
I love it. Obviously, whenever you put out a single, whenever you put out the album itself, anything like that, when you're performing, let us know, and Unbowed is going to support you every way that we can. Okay, my dude. So whenever you're putting that stuff out there for all the followers, keep a track here. You want to go listen to Mark? He's that way. My camera's reversed. It's not working well. When if you want to follow him, obviously all his stuff is going to be down below. And if you want the news, it's either going to come direct from him, follow him, or listen to Unbowed, because we're going to promote the heck out of him because we love him and we love what he's doing. We love you. We love what you're doing. Awesome. I really want to thank you for coming in. And now I'm going to do the YouTube transition because we have to do that wonderful like, share, and subscribe thing. So I'm just going to hit that. And that gives me the ability to transition in and out. And for everybody listening on the stream, I want to thank you very, very much. Come back. We got more things coming out, and we're going to be talking with Mark in the very, very near future. All right. Love you guys. See you on the next one.
Yeah.
All right. We are... Oh, nope.